What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first episode of Chicago Bulls Weekly, where we discuss the previous week that the Bulls just faced in their 3 games of the beginning of their regular season. We discuss some awards that should be given, some good, some not so good. And then we obviously move over on what's to come for the Chicago Bulls next week and ultimately just try to figure out how the Chicago Bulls can find a way to improve with the schedule they have coming up next. I think it's going to get a little bit easier for the Bulls after this big tough stretch that we just faced. So let's hope the Bulls can take advantage of such games. We'll wait and see whether or not we can do or not. But before we get any further, if you enjoy the video and you'd like to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and I guess the week they had. Which awards would you give to which players? I think that's always the funnest part of Bulls Weekly. I think it's a very big reason why I continue to do it year after year after year. Normally I do it in preseason, but obviously for reasons that most of you are aware of, I didn't do it for this preseason. But ultimately, what's to come? Who the award's going to? Can we win more than we lose next week? So, we had 3 games that we looked forward to this week. We ended up going 1 and 2. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I actually personally think 1 and 2 is a pretty decent result for the Chicago Bulls, considering that we faced the Pelicans, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the OKC Thunder, who are one of the best teams in the NBA. Milwaukee is a very decent team, and the Pelicans, the new look Pelicans, are a very decent team as well. So, I'm actually not so upset with 1 and 2. I am upset with some of the performances, but the actual result itself is something I'm not too upset with at the moment. And I hope that the Bulls can continue to try to find a way and work their way into form, because I think when we are in form, we are a fun team to watch. And the first game of the season was against the Pelicans. The form wasn't necessarily there, but we ended up losing the game 123 to 111. It was the second half that really let the Chicago Bulls down in this timeout. The turnovers were a big problem. The three-point shooting continued to be a big problem, and we just left, I guess, no response for the Pelicans. We didn't really respond well to the runs that they were committing, and we just fell short in the end. But it was still fun and competitive to watch. It was still good to see modern basketball being played, and yeah, it was good to see guys like Zach LaVine step into the fray and really show what he's all about. It was quite impressive all the way around. And then you move over to the Milwaukee Bucks, a game that many people didn't expect us to win. In fact, I would almost guarantee that no one expected us to win this game against the Bucks, but we did. And we did so, winning 133 to 122, a ridiculously high-scoring game. But this is when the Bulls were on track, shooting every 3, and it felt like everything was going in. Every single offensive play was effective for the Chicago Bulls. And more importantly, Milwaukee just underestimated us from a lot of areas offensively, and we made them pay every step of the way. And that is what a Bulls team should be doing when they feel underestimated. And hopefully, they underestimate us again, because I'd like to beat them again in the next time out, whenever that may be. And that's the kind of key areas that we got to focus on, trying to get that type of form, because the potential screams for the Chicago Bulls in games like that. I want to see more games like that, of course, in the near future. We didn't see that against the OKC Thunder. We got destroyed 114 to 95. And the most important thing to take away from this game is that we got destroyed in our home opener. And I feel like that should never happen. And when it does happen, you got to do everything in your power to rectify it in that next home game and the home game after that. You got to make sure home territory is the place where you don't get beat. And it's frustrating to see, not only did we get beat, but we got outclassed, outmatched, and destroyed in every facet of the game. Beaten in multiple ways. And that hurt more than anything in terms of the results. So with that being said, we got awards to give. Some good, some not so good. The 4 that we like to give away. The must improve of the week. The 6th man of the week. The defensive player of the week. And you guys might guess this one, the player of the week. So I'm going to start with the bad one first, because let's get the bad stuff out of the way. My personal must improve of the week is going to be Patrick Williams. He had a good game in the middle against the Milwaukee Bucks, where he did phenomenal, in my opinion, on both ends of the court. But I just felt like he continued to stay stagnant for a lot of the games, and I guess another reason, and this might not be fair to Patrick Williams, because I don't want to base it just on what he's being paid for the Chicago Bulls, but look, he's getting paid $18 million a season, and the person I would give it to next to Patrick Williams is Ayo Dosunmu. and I can clearly see which one is getting paid more. So I expect more out of Patrick Williams than I do Ayo Dosunmu. It's just as simple as that. It might not be the right way to go about it, but that's how I feel. And therefore, when I see Patrick Williams continue to struggle on the offensive end and even continue to be passive on the offensive end, defensively he's been okay. It just makes me question Patrick Williams, and I want to see better from him in the near future. Keep in mind, he's still coming back from that injury, so I am still hopeful he can turn it around the more games that he gets to play. So at least that's a positive in the cap of Patrick Williams. Defensive Player of the Week is going to no one. At the end of the day, we didn't play good defense in any of these games. Milwaukee, the game that we won, 122 points. The Pelicans, 123 points. And OKC, 114 points. More specifically, our team defense has been struggling recently, ladies and gentlemen. The idea of transition defense seems completely lost on this Bulls team. Outside of a select few players like Ayo and Lonzo, it seems like our defensive end crumbles every now and then. I appreciate Zach LaVine trying to step up to the plate defensively in these last few games, but ultimately we have just struggled so much on that end. I feel like it's completely unwarranted to give anyone the Defensive Player of the Week. We need to see better defensive performances, or at least standout defensive performances from at least anyone, like literally anyone, for me to even give the award. I just didn't see a standout, and our team defense just completely went into disarray. Sixth man of the week, I'm going to give it to the one and only Jalen Smith, the backup center for the Chicago Bulls. 2 phenomenal games this time out. And I don't necessarily... Let's take a look at what he had against OKC, because that's the game where I don't necessarily know. He had 4 points and 6 rebounds, which is a bit mediocre. But ultimately, the game before that against the Bucks made some big threes. It did some big things. A double-double in his first game against the Pelicans. I will go to those performances and say, wow, he is the standout. And ultimately, he is the best bench player out of, in my opinion, a bad bunch of bench players this time around. So I think our bench really needs an extra lift. Hopefully we can find it from somewhere, and hopefully Jalen Smith can continue his good run of games. And then the player of the week for me is going to be... Oh, this is tough. I think I'm going to give it to Nikola Vucevic. The reason why is I just think he's been the most consistent. The OKC Thunder game, 18 points, 13 rebounds. He had a 22-point night against the Bucks. He was probably the best player against the Pelicans as well. Zach LaVine went crazy. I think he had 25 points in one of the games. Kobe White had 35 points in one of the games. But if I wanted a standout of the week, I might give it to Kobe White for the Bucks game. But I don't have a standout of the week, nor am I going to continue to do the standout of the week. It's about consistency sometimes in the NBA. And one thing's for certain, Vucevic has been the most consistent player this week, and that's why he's getting the award from me. And I'm very impressed with what he was been able to do, and of course, hopefully it can continue, because even if he does end up continuing these performances, it will only elevate his trade value. And even if he doesn't get traded from the Chicago Bulls, a good Vucevic means a better Chicago Bulls team, and that is obviously something I'd like to see also. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of the awards. What's next for the Chicago Bulls? Well, keep in mind, it's the beginning of the season, so games can come thick and fast, and it can also really start to slow down. But our next game is going to be away from home against the Memphis Grizzlies. That will be in a couple of hours' time. Memphis is a team we faced in the preseason. We did not beat them, and that was kind of their B team. So it does bring a little bit of worry, but knowing that we faced them before could give us an advantage. We'll have to wait and see. We will be in enemy territory. Let's see if we can respond well to that. Then, of course, the next one will be against the Orlando Magic. This one will be at home. We have never played well against the Orlando Magic, at least this version of the Orlando Magic. Again, we're a different team now, and they are the same team. They're literally the same team. So hopefully it's more of an adaptive style in which they have to adapt to our play, and maybe we can find ways to exploit them now that we do have this new look team, because whatever we had last season just simply never worked. And then we got the Brooklyn Nets, away from home. I don't necessarily know Brooklyn's record at the moment, but they are below the Chicago Bulls. They have a 1-2 record, very similar to us. I think we could beat Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn have taken massive leaps downwards this season, and I think that's a very winnable game, and I believe it's at home as well. And those are the 3 games we have to look forward to this week. Do you enjoy those games? I think, personally, we are going to go 2-1. I'm going to think positively today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.